This is tuna on toast.
Hold on. I gotta put on my shirt. I'm nude. Hold on, Mark McGrath is outside. I'm not even dressed. God dang it. I mean, does this look okay? I gotta look good from McGrath. Okay, I think we're ready. Holy crap. Mark! Wow, all you gotta do is pull this.
I told you locked me out,
Look
man.
at this guy.
What's up, man? Oh, so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Look at this glorious hills, man. I used to live in here. I miss it.
Really?
I'm just soaking it in.
Good to see you.
What a beautiful spot.
Thank you, Mark.
Wow.
I can't
Podcasting
believe you're
he's out of control, man. So killer. Just, oh, look at the pool.
Thank
Look
you.
at so nice.
Yeah.
I said, I'm just going to take a turn up here because I never get up here anymore because I live in the valley. And it just made me miss this space. It's a magical part of the world,
man.
you know? And like
Yes.
driving, like you have to stop so the trucks go by and that's a whole car nightmare.
Right.
It's a whole, zigzag. It's like a labyrinth of traffic. But then you get to like the panacea of tranquility, which is Stryker's place, and it's a joy. My compliments the decorator, man. The place is beautiful.
Thanks. That is Katie, my wife, who 99% of this stuff is hers.
Katie, well done.
All right, Mark, here's
Yes,
how
sir.
we're going to start this off.
Okay.
You
You
are-
gave me the trivia already, dude?
Yes.
Oh.
And then we go into conversation in the room.
Okay,
You got to focus, okay?
I got you.
This is more like Name That Tune with me singing the songs in not a great way.
That's my job, dude. Go up to the bell?
I'll hit the button if you get it right. When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. He said, son,
Stop. That's My Chemical Romance.
Yes.
The Black Parade.
yes, we'll give it to you right there.
And I'm just saying something. I was just starting to have kids then, so my emo cred is gonna be a little weak.
Okay, but you got it.
Just to qualify myself. That's why it took a second. I know your watchers are like, "Come on, dude! That highlighter getting in your brain? What? Here we go."
We're talking away. I don't know what I'm to say. I'll say it anyway. Today's another day to find you. Shine away.
Okay, God, take on me. It's the monotone delivery. It's just
So we're different colors and we're different creeds. And different people have different needs. It's obvious you hate me.
I get back down to the wrong Depeche Mode. People are people.
Yes!
God dang it, man! And you're going right in my wheelhouse too. And I'm like,
These are your wheelhouse.
but you know what's so weird? It's the way you're just acting them out, man. You're giving me no clues. It's just this You say you're gonna sing them a little.
You're batting 1,000 though. So
Yeah, but I'm supposed to bat 1,000. Everything's on the Rock and Roll Championship, which I am.
You are. I mean, 2-time, right?
No, I don't like
3-time.
3 times.
Yeah, 3-time. Here we go.
What's all my numbers? Semantics.
Wake up. Grab your brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars and fade away the shakeup.
Okay, well that's definitely System of a Down. And I knew I was gonna hear that here. With you. Did you see them in Vegas recently?
I saw them.
No, in LA.
Yeah, no, Vegas. I went to the
They're
Vegas
in
show.
Vegas and Quad.
Yeah,
I thought I saw your Vegas.
Yes, I went to the
association
Vegas show. Yeah.
What a band.
You like them?
I don't like them. I love them.
They drank up the wine.
They drank up the wine and they started driving. That is The Way by Fastball.
Wow!
My homies, man, I love them.
Okay, here we go. I remember all my life. Raining down as cold as ice. Shadows of a man, a face through a window.
Okay, Barry Manilow, Mandy.
Christ. Oh my God.
We're warming up here. Huh?
Oh my
Let me go for you.
God.
Good ones though. Good ones. Good ones.
Wow. Okay, here we go. This is our last one. So I hooks a left on 2-1 and Lewis.
So hook someone to it. That's easy. The Boys in the Hood. Wait, it's NWA.
You're.
Oh no, it's
Some brothers shooting dice, so I said, let's do this. I jumped out the ride and said, what's up? Some brothers pulled some gats, so I said, I'm stuck.
because the Boys in the Hood are always hard.
No. Come on,
Is
Mark.
it Cube?
No.
It's NWA.
No.
It's easy.
No.
Do one more time.
Okay.
Just give me the first
Here
one.
we go. Do you want me to sing it how it really goes?
Yeah. No, I know it goes.
Okay. So I hooks a left on 2-1 and Lewis, some brothers shooting dice, so I said, let's do this. I jumped out the ride and said, what's up? Some brothers put some gats, so I said, I'm stuck.
I'm stuck.
Since these girls peeping me, I'm a glide and swerve.
Warren G.
Yeah.
Like, my God. I got so stuck.
Yeah.
No, I'm not taking that. Rewind. Nope.
Everyone's a winner here, though.
No, that's so bad. That was the easiest one, too.
That was a good one. All right. Mark, watch your head, watch your feet.
Oh, hey.
That's you right there.
God, this is really professional, man. Well done.
It's professional.
And I know you got coasters.
Yeah.
This house is the nicest house. There's not the detail in this house is unbelievable. It's like a museum of opulence, but it's welcoming at the same time.
Thank you.
It's kind of like Stryker.
Mark McGrath is one of the few people that respects wood.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuna on Toast. So excited for my guest today, an incredible frontman and the most musical knowledge of any artist I've ever met. At my house right now, sitting next to me, Mark McGrath. Mark McGrath. We've already had like 25 minutes of warm up here so far.
I'm already sweating. I've got anxiety already. I'm trying to figure out how I did on the lyrical thing, and I blew the Warren G thing. But I'm good, Stryker, and I'm such a fan of your podcast. It's an honor to be on it.
Thanks,
I kind
Mark.
of asked myself to be on it. We've been hitting each other in social media. I'm like, hey, your podcast is great. Hint, hint. Crickets. And then I go, hey, I saw the other thing in the interrupters. Crickets. I go, love the Tom Morello thing. And by the way, I'm just down the street. And then he's like, okay, I was gonna wait for these C-listers later, but I'll take him in now.
No, Mark.
Honored to be here.
What
bro.
you wrote was, hey, when it's time to get to the bottom of the barrel.
That's right.
That's what you wrote. Mark, listen, you've been in this business for a very, very long time.
Yes, sir.
And you play shows still all over, and people care, and they come sing their songs. You recognize how like rare that is, right?
Oh, it's such a rarefied air. You know, after all these years, I always say the hardest thing about show business, the second hardest thing in show business is having success. That's the second hardest thing.
Okay.
The hardest thing is staying there. I mean, look at all the people just filtered in, just come down this hill. We're in the Hollywood Hills, buy a house up here, second record fails, out of here. That's the majority of people after success, after you already did the second hardest thing in the world. So all of us tried to be the Eagles. All of us tried to be the Bon Jovis of the world, the bands that could play forever. You know, the Smashing Pumpkins, the Jane's Addictions of the world. We all took a shot at it. Smash Mouth, you know,
Yeah.
Everclear, all of us. We didn't get to do it. But we didn't become legacy bands, but we have legacy songs.
Yes.
So that is where we still get to play for the rest of our lives. And I always say, have 4 songs, we'll travel. A cappella, acoustic, tracks, my band, your band, however you want to hear them, man. I'm happy to play them, and I'm just so honored that we somehow fell into these 4 songs that I still get to make a living off music and raise my kids and have a great life, you know? My dream still continues. You know what I mean? That's what's the great thing. I still have a uniform in this thing called Hollywood.
Right. And so what is your main focus in 2022? Is it play as many shows as possible? Is it, hey, I want the world to know that I'm a freaking unbelievable host and I want to do that? Or is it whatever comes your way, you're game on doing?
Yeah, I think it's I'm really whatever comes my way, I'm game on doing. When you see me on Masked
But you're
Singer.
consistent.
When you see me on the Masked
You're great
Singer
on that.
in a 9-foot whale costume, I'm pretty up for doing whatever. I think the world has seen me as a host, and I'm average. I'll save it for the pros like you, Stryker. But playing shows,
Yeah.
it's in my heart and soul. You know, I took a little break at Extra. I never stopped playing shows. I just stopped being in a band that, you know, recorded music and went on tour. And some of the other guys in the band were having kids and they wanted to take a break.
In 2007-ish, right?
That 2004, believe it or not, is when I
wow.
started Extra, and I worked there to 2008. But we still did 40, 50 shows a year because I love performing. That's what I want to do first and straight off. And I always say my goal in life, my ideal death, if I can be a little bit macabre, would be to die in the middle of 3 sets in a Denny's in Barstow at the end of Fly, like, and I just fall asleep in your Grand Slam. And that is it. I'm 76, had a great life. That to me is perfection. So I am just so grateful. I try to stack all these shows during the year, Stryker. I'm in a couple other bands as well, which also adds to the show list. Ezra Ray Hart is a band with Kevin Griffin from Better Than Ezra.
Yes.
And Emerson Hart from Tonic, where we play all the hits of Sugar Ray, Better Than Ezra, Tonic. We put them all
great
together in one
songs
thing.
from the bands,
Yeah,
yes.
and we're just one big band, which is a lot of fun. I'm in Royal Machines too, with Dave Navarro
Right.
and Josh Freese and all these guys.
Yes.
So I really just have somehow find myself serendipitously into a position where I can play a lot of shows and still keep the lights on. And I really love to perform. Now, if other opportunities come with, sometimes I get opportunities to do these, CNN and do the best of the 90s or something. And I'll get to host those. And I did some VOs for the Dark Side of the
Right.
90s, which
Yes.
is really cool.
Yeah.
Now, I'd never done VOs before because I'm such a spaz. I don't know if you can tell. So I would go into this kind of like VOs, like, hey, the stars were out in Hollywood last night. And like everyone's like, dude, dude, tone it down. So at the Vice Dark Side of the 90s, they literally had me like almost like 3 Quaaludes in, going like, Johnny Depp bought a club down on Sunset Boulevard. Sounds like, you know, when you're listening to a podcast and you turn it down a little bit, that's how I kind of had to turn down my energy, but it worked. So I'm learning new things as I'm going along and always up for something new, Stryker.
It's
always.
right. And it seems like that you're a guy, as an outsider just watching your whole career, that your trajectory, it still goes like this. It's never like down here, because you get these gigs, voiceover gigs, your 90s show. Are you still doing the 90s show that you're hosting?
I am. And so now I'm on like every day really quickly. Don't blink, you'll probably miss me. But it's a great way to stay connected with SiriusXM, who's been so good to me and the band. That's great. But yeah, so I think in terms of staying here, you have to accept and receive the ebb and flows. Okay, so you make it in a band, say, and like you have like a 4 to 5 year cycle for most bands. I talked about most bands try to be legacies. Doesn't happen for everybody. So if you get that 4 to 5 year cycle, you're like, okay, now how am I going to continue? Do I still love music? Do I still want to play this forever? Well, check. That is what I want to do. There's no doubt about that. Okay, well, how else can I do to supplement that? Because maybe I can't. You know, there's a point in time there in 2009, 2010, the stink of the 90s was still very, very foul. Like, you know, we just weren't in vogue. Everybody was hustling for those couple of gigs. So the competition was tough to get these gigs. Now the 90s have opened way back up again. I think people are learning it's going to be your last decade you ever see. No, I'm saying that because, and I say that because it was the last time we all received music the same way. Certainly in the music way.
Right.
You know, we came out on a Tuesday. The videos were sent to TRL on a Thursday. Whatever it was, I can't, you know. So, and we all saw the charts, and here was the music, and here was the channels. Now everybody gets music in so many different places, and music is such a leader in terms of how fashion, the aesthetic, and how cultural things happen. And now that it's all over the place, it's on the internet. It's not so much in front of our face as it was growing up on MTV, listening to K-Rock, listening to Kiss FM, whatever it was. So I don't think it's going to be very strange to have defined decades going forward. So I think people look back at the 90s with rose-tinted glasses. By the way, I lived through it. Wasn't that amazing? It was great. My dreams came true. So, I mean, it was great. But we look back at it as a lot more cooler than it actually was. I mean, look, I still had those highlights in the 90s. These were never cool. I'm still rocking them.
How do you still have the most perfect hair in history? You are blessed. Look at this. Your looks, your hair. I mean, you're so open. You put on a freaking bathrobe on Instagram and everyone's like drooling over this.
I don't like to brag. Well, apparently everybody says I've had more plastic surgery than Joan Rivers, and I look like Madam and Waylon and all that. I'm like, can a guy just gain 20 pounds in peace, brothers and sisters? You know what I mean? It's so funny. People are like, God, you don't look like you did in 97. I go, yeah, you don't either. You know what I mean? It's funny. It's called Father Time. He's undefeated. I try and run a little bit and do my thing. The hair, and I tell everybody this, and I am not working for them. I am just a client.
Here we go.
I am just a Propecia.
Oh, really?
Now, here's the problem with fellas with hair loss.
Okay.
And I know people are listening right now and going, oh, God, he's on my subject. He's on my Achilles heel. That really bothers me. Guys are the last one to tell themselves that their hair is leaving their person. Okay? Because they're like, oh, no, what's going on, man? I'm just going to flip this over here and do a spider sides over here.
Here we go. Okay.
But guys are the last ones to know. If you get on it early, there's a pill called Propecia that helped me. When I was on an extra in 2004, I mean, I was super vain back then, even more vain than I already am. And so, but, you know, I could tell if I had a heavy weekend or not because I'm, well, look a little bloated. And I saw like a little bit of my hair starting receding. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I had a friend whose hair started receding a little bit. And I asked him, I go, dude, I've noticed your hair started going, and he stopped me mid-sentence. He goes, Propecia. So I went and got on Propecia. I've been on it since 2004.
Oh my God! Okay,
and it kept my hair. It's just, but it's been really good to me, man. It's been really good to me. It's kept my hair in the game. So we'll see. My dad was beyond bald. My grandfather was bald. So I think it has something to do with my luxurious looks. And the bathrobe thing that's just for the ladies. It's just for the ladies.
I like it too. All right, Mark. We can hold on.
Sorry,
we're going very fast. We need to rewind to Shrinky Dinx.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going like, when did Shrinky Dinx, which became Sugar Ray, which got the deal, was it Atlantic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
What the hell was going on with your band and live shows, and how did your band end up with a label deal?
Yeah, man, it's the most backwards story of all time of maybe the most untalented band ever to get a record deal. No, and I'm saying that we became talented. I'll tell you that. And I'm very proud of the songs we wrote.
Okay.
But we were just a Hail Mary pass. Okay. In 1988, the band started and we were called the Shrinky Dinx. and the emphasis on the X with the little Motley Crue umlauts over the X.
Yes.
It was metal time. You know what I mean? It was Faster Pussycat. It was LA Guns. It was Bang Tango. And that's all we wanted to be. And I say that shamelessly now, and I still love all of those bands. And I never lost a love for them. We found out we weren't really that good as musicians or songwriters. So what we became is like a cover band. We played every keg party we played. We played everyone around our areas. We went down to San Diego. We had friends going to college, so we started to play parties at San Diego State, UCSB, and we started to get a little vibe as a college frat party band thing. You know, we'd play everything from Run DMC to Blondie to Judas Priest to Motorhead when that wasn't really being done. You know, this is pre-Lollapalooza, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we were just grooving, and then naturally people were like, why don't you try writing your own songs? So we did, and they were really bad. I think we had one song called Lick Me, one song called Gold Digger, and the one that got the record deal was called Caboose.
Okay.
Now, there was something visual happening about our band. The bands we loved, the Chili Peppers, the Sex Pistols, the Beastie Boys, were those bands that really gave it up as a live entity. You know, there was a lot going on. You could look at each guy in the band. They were doing something. There were characters. So we almost had the show before we had the material. In fact, we did. And McG, who ended up producing all our videos, my best friend of 45 years, still today.
And McG, if you don't know, is an incredibly successful movie director, starting with Charlie's Angels, and then you can look at his IMDb and see the rest.
That's exactly right. But he basically dotted the landscape of MTV in the late 90s. Every video from Sublime, Smash Mouth.
Yes.
We talked about...
Fastball? No.
We talked about Fastball, the way he did Offspring, The Korn. I mean, every other video on MTV for a while was a McG directed video. It was crazy. So he kind of he was responsible for the aesthetic. Anyway, super smart guy. So what he did to us is it was kind of like, listen, you guys can't really write any songs, but there's a visual thing happening here, and I'm kind of into film and stuff. I want to borrow from Peter, Rob Paul to borrow from Peter, whatever that saying is, and we'll make a video. But we'll put it on 35 millimeter film, and it'll be ready to go on TV. We'll make a video ready to go. So instead of just throwing some, innocuous cassette on a desk, which they did back then in A&R people, we made a video. Now, the video turned out pretty cool because we had McG directing it, who was going to be the future of these videos anyway. So we had a really good eye, and we didn't have we just had no idea. We shot things that we thought were cool. There's a bulldog right there. Shoot his face. Let's ice skate around the rink.
So is it like a sizzle reel of Sugar Ray / the Shrinky Dinx band? Is that what it was?
It was
just and how long was it? 3 or 4 minutes long?
3 minutes. A song called Caboose, 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
And it had some live shots, and it had some pits and just some, pre-90s Volcom lifestyle. It looked like a video.
Okay.
And Volcom was actually a party we used to play because we knew Richard Wolcott, who was the CEO of Volcott, who started Volcom. Volcott. You got my head spinning, man. I'm getting older. So we used to play a lot of Volcom parties, and that too got a lot of little heat going on. So we made this video, and the video looked great. And the song was just good enough to get by. It had a verse, chorus, and it kind of rocked a little bit. Song called Caboose. And we had a little bit of a DJ thing in there, which was kind of new at the time. And it got to we put it in a pizza box, and we sent it to everybody in the world. Everybody got the pizza box with the video in it. Advertising, marketing 101. Rick Rubin calls. And McG loves Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin's team's called, I should say. We go, yeah, we're going to be on Deaf American. Yeah, oh my God, it's so great. And he goes, I got the video, and I don't know much about the song, but what you guys doing marketing-wise is great. Would you want to be part of the street team here? And we just went, wah, wah. It was the best call ever.
Oh, my God.
Until it wasn't.
No.
So we kind of passed on that. We just kind of trudged around a little bit. Got a call from some guys in New York. They were managers. This guy named Chip and a guy named Lee. And Chip ended up being our manager for a long, long time. And they said, we got your video. We love it. We love it. We want to manage you guys, blah, blah, blah. They managed us. They knew a guy who came in on the train who worked from Atlantic Records in New York. He saw the video. He loved it. Now, he played it for Doug Morris, and Doug Morris was the CEO of Atlantic Records in fall of 1993.
Okay.
And this all happened within a 2-week period of the pizza boxes going out, the video being finished, the getting management, and it getting to Doug Morris.
Within 2 weeks?
Within 2 weeks.
Okay, here we go.
By the way, and this is when things went slowly. This was no internet, no information. It
Right.
was slowly.
No links,
it just
no
shows you,
nothing.
once it got in the house of Atlantic Records, that thing.
Yeah.
Doug Morris looked at it and he just goes, sign these guys. I don't care what it takes. They reminded me why I got into music. They just are having fun. Now, mind you, this is early 90s, grunge, I hate myself. That was
Yeah.
all the thing. We're like, yeah, come on, let's party. That was us. And so Doug Morris goes, we'll figure it out later. And I said they go, how many songs you guys have? I go, we got like 40 songs. How many fans you got? I've got fans up and down in Southern California. No fans, no songs, no nothing. This is when you can actually bamboozle a record company. And so we ended up getting $1 million 2-record firm deal with Atlantic Records off one video.
So no matter what happened with the first record, Lemonade and Brownies, you guys were able to make that second record, which had Fly on there.
Which is a very smart record deal that our managers made. Because at the time, you get the deal, you'd make one record, and then the label had the option to get rid of you. But they said, we want 2 firm. They held on so tight. And Doug Morris, because it came from up high, we didn't have an A&R guy. Doug Morris was our A&R guy. He goes, sign those guys. Since it came from on high, we pretty much were able to dictate the terms. Because those were it was impossible to get 2 firm back.
Okay, hold on.
Impossible.
You make Lemonade and Brownies.
Yes.
You guys cannot be DJ Lethal.
Yep, DJ Lethal from House of Pain and Limp Bizkit.
Yes.
Because we go, God, we love that song, Jump Around. We love it. And we love House of Pain. And we kind of want to be like that. And maybe we can be friends with them and go on tour with them and all this stuff. And yeah. So we reached out to DJ Lethal from House of Pain. He goes, yes, I will produce your record. Killer! Find out the next week that Muggs produced Jump Around, but
right.
not a problem.
DJ Muggs, yes.
Because Lethal is such an incredible producer. Probably one of the most underrated producers of our generation. He has so many great things, and he really helped us make a record, which was Lemonade and Brownies. Because on that first record, there's just tracks. He would give us loops, and we'd go like, we're a rock band. We know what to do with these.
Right.
And so we'd start doing falsettos and things, and we were learning to structure songs. It was kids in a candy store with a lot of great influences with not a lot of talent. So a lot of that had to filter through, and then we had to get out and start making this a full-time job. I think when we started getting better as musicians and songwriters naturally, it was when it became a full-time job. This is what we did. We're going to go tour around the world. We're going to play music. We're going to coalesce as a band. We're going to define our chemistry. And like I said, we always had a lot of great influences, and that's something that helped us a lot.
How were you able to get people at your shows when that first record did not necessarily have radio hits on there and wasn't being blasted on MTV, which is radio and MTV is how many people would discover bands? Who did you go on the road with? How did you win over fans?
It's twofold, really. We had a lot of success in Europe. In Europe at the time, Rage Against the Machine had just ran through there and became gods. And the rap rock thing and white guys from Orange County rapping was not lame over there yet. You know what I'm saying? It was something that was new and fresh. And it wasn't so proprietary like it was here. We always felt like, you can't, we're kids from the beach. We can't rap. We always loved hip hop and it was part of our musical aesthetic, but rapping, the only time I ever rapped because of my lack of singing and not knowing where my voice was. But we had sort of a rap rock record, and we got thrown in with the bands like that, like Downset.
Oh, wow.
And so we were getting a little bit of traction out there in Europe. Enough so that Atlanta kept shoveling money into us to tour. Now, we had one tour in the United States on Lemonade and Brownies to show you how not well it was doing here.
Oh, my God.
We did 7 tours in Europe of Lemonade and Brownies to show you how well it was doing over there. We did a tour with Korn and Lords of Brooklyn.
How did you guys go over with that crowd?
Fine. And I'll tell you why, because we got hard stuff in our arsenal.
I know you
Mean
do.
Machine, Iron Mike.
I love
10 Seconds Down.
Tap, Twist, and Snap?
Tap, Twist, and Snap. I wasn't there yet, but we had the songs that were heavy.
Oh, that's right. That was on Florida. That was on Florida. Right.
Dip into some of our influences. We'd play Wasted by Circle Jerks, and we'd play we'd play Wango Tango by Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
We'd just go out there and just be aggressive and just exploding with
And you were showmen.
And we're showmen too as well. So we were going to make people like it whether they didn't or not. And we were friends with Korn, so that had a lot to do with it. It was really good. And I remember that tour. They had Jägermeister sponsoring that tour. And they had a Jägermeister kegerator in Korn's dressing room. Someone thought that'd be a good idea. for 2 nights. That thing went away quickly. I think we were the problem in that one. So we did about 2.5 weeks like that. We're making a lot of in-way here in America. We got to add the Live 105 in San Francisco, which was a big ad, and we got to add The Edge in Seattle. So we were getting some ads, but they would quickly drop off. It wasn't reacting. I think that the radio stations wanted to be on it just in case it happened. And I also missed something I wanted to say about getting signed.
Yeah.
Because of Nirvana in '91, if you had a Marshall guitar,
Okay.
you know, if you had a Les Paul, you had a Marshall amp, and you turned on to 11 and you didn't play solos, you could get a major record deal.
Wow.
Because the labels didn't know what was going to happen after that. They did not know. All the guys that could play, the King's X's of the world, the Mr. Biggs of the world, you guys are out. If you play it all, if you just spent your Maslow's 10,000 hours practicing, you're out. You're not getting signed. So we were a perfect place, a perfect time to get signed. That's why I want you to know, because they signed every band. Every band got signed. You know, back then, 20 bands got signed, 11 ever released a record, and 3 were successful. Those were the numbers, because the economics are so bad for the label. Like, look, I'm gonna be the only artist in the world that will feel bad for the label, because their economic position, their business practice was to give away so much money that they were hoping that the 3 that would hit would make up for all the ones that they lost. So there's a reason why that the business practices are so askew, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so we had another week of touring. And then we were on the fence of whether we're going to have to make another record, because we found out that Atlantic was going to say, hey, we can just buy you out. We don't have to, we can just give you the money and not release it. And we're like, oh my God, that's looking very likely. And we're like, oh my gosh. And so I had a buddy named John Nardachone who worked the metal at Atlantic Records.
Okay.
He goes, Mark, I know you love Howard Stern. I do too. The Meat Puppets were supposed to cover Psychedelic B. By Howard Stern. They won't do it. They can't do it. They can't get it together. This is a long shot. You're on a label. Stop what you're doing. Go to a community college and see if you can borrow their facilities and record Psychedelic B. Now we got 2 shows left before we're going home and it's over. We stop at Denver Community City College. I'll never forget it. We stop there. We knock on a door. There's this guy that goes, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'd love to record a band. Another part of serendipity and luck. Right?
Yeah.
So he sets us up. We have 2 hours. We record Psychedelic B. And it was kind of like grungy, it was just noise. It was like, it's just going to be, if this is it, man, then we aren't it. So we FedExed it, sent it to our manager in New York. No cell phones back then, don't forget, no nothing. So we do an 18-hour drive in a van, really low energy, bummed out, spirits are completely depleted. We get to our next gig in Wyoming, and we pull in about 9:30 in the morning in the parking lot. And the manager of the place is there, which would never happen. People who travel in vans know what I'm talking about. They don't get there to 5 or 6 till they open up. They're crusty and angry.
Right.
This guy's going, he's running to the van. I'm like, this guy's the nicest guy in the world. He's got some pretty good news, or he thinks we're somebody else. We're going to find out. He goes, listen. Call your manager right now. Howard Stern's been playing your song all day long on the radio.
My God.
He wants you in the studio on Monday. Call your manager. And he's like, come on, call. And he took us in the office. We called, and our manager, we can hear him in the background. He had Howard Stern on. He was playing the thing. We're like, oh my God. It was like the Wonders moment. You know what I mean? It was like
right.
We're like, oh my God. And our manager goes, just leave the van there. Just leave everything. Get on a plane. You've got to be here by Monday to start playing. We got to capitalize on the momentum.
So he's playing this on the air, and your management says, come to New York? Or come back to LA and let's start working.
Leave the van where it is. Leave your crap where it is and get to New York immediately. We need to cash in on this vibe. Atlantic, Waking the Sleeping Giant has decided to buy the tickets to bring you guys in and put you guys up in New York, which they had never put out $1 on their own just to be cool, but they knew the value of being on Howard Stern, what that would do. Went to Howard Stern. We brought a couple girls with us because we knew him in New York. You know, we might be dumb, but we're not stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Howard loved them. And we ended up being on the show for about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. We played the song twice. It was the song was like 1 minute and 10 seconds. We got on E. E channel was filming back then. And then because of that, the label said, let's capitalize on this momentum. Yes, you guys can make a second record.
Floored.
So Howard Stern always says he's responsible for careers. He's absolutely responsible for the career of Sugar Ray.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And that's why we put Psychedelic B on our greatest hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep,
so you go make Floored, and you bring in David Kahn to produce this, right? This is a professional you're bringing in. A very, 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 very professional human musical being.
He's a human musical being indeed. We got rid of our friends. Like, hey, dude, let me produce you. What's that button do? Let's not find out, dude. Let's get a guy who really knows what that button does. And it was David Kahn. Now,
Yep.
David Kahn scared the hell out of all of us because he was a task master. I mean, he's a very cerebral guy. He'll yell at you. He's got a face like this. He's got a poker face. He's one of those guys who's always the smartest guy in the room. So not only does his criticism bite harder, he's right every time. Now, David Kahn had just come off the success of What I Got. Now, Sublime's What I Got is gigantic. Now, we talked about looking back on the 90s with rose-tinted sunglasses.
Yeah.
Sublime, untouchable, one of the greatest bands of all time. Back then, before What I Got, the odds of them, after coming off Date Rape and all those songs, of having a gigantic hit that was going to go into the top 40 was pretty long. You know, they would show up to gigs and do 45-minute dub jams if they showed up to the gig. So seeing that this song became so gigantic didn't give us encouragement because we're not Sublime. They're so freaking talented, but it did make us feel a little simpatico. Somehow this man, David Kahn, took the hip hop elements of Sublime, the reggae and all that, and mixed it together. And we were sitting on Fly, which we felt good about.
Hold on. You had these songs recorded for the album.
Not recorded.
Where Fly was.
Not recorded.
Oh, not recorded.
We had pieces of songs. We always wrote in pieces.
But you had a song like RPM on there, and then you had a song, right?
Was co-written by Dave Snake Sabo from
Oh my
Skid
God.
Row.
That's got a certain sound. Fly has a certain sound. Did it matter to you what sound you guys were going for, or was it like, let's just take songs that we can write and record and we have snippets of?
That's how we kind of wrote. When you're working with the DJ, you know, he'd bring up a track and we'd start writing off that. Some people would come up with a chorus. I'd come up with a bass line. So there was no Noel Gallagher in our band. None. There were three major entities in the songwriting creative process: myself, Rodney, and Stan. But there was no guy that just like, here's the song, done, let's go. And writing like that's very difficult. You can come out with gems, but you know there's a lot of duds as well. So we had pieces of Fly. You know, when I first heard Fly, it was the worst thing I've ever heard. I go, I'm quitting the band.
Wow.
Because it was, our drummer was singing it, and he was singing like in a falsetto, and it was like kind of like an airy thing, like, I just want to fly. And I'm like, I quit. Because, you know, we're coming off we toured with Downs, we toured with Deftones, Monster Magnet, and I go, this is not the direction. Mick G, I call Mick G, we're in New York City. I go, I'm coming home. It's not working, man. And he goes, what are you going to do? Come home and what are you going to do? Let me know. In 2 weeks, you're going to wish you're back there. Finish the song, see if you can do something. So I went and added some verses to it that weren't there. Started shaping up a little bit more to me. Then it felt good. I felt like we had something. You know, I was able to see through my weirdness to go, yeah, there is something there in the ether. You know, thank God I did, because I'm so glad I didn't get in the way of that song.
Right.
So I guess Stryker, what I'm trying to say in the most garrulous, verbose way, and that's how I say, we had pieces of songs written that we were going to perform for David Kahn in a recording studio in New York City.
Why were you guys in New York City? Because your main dude from the label was there, when you guys are West Coast dudes. Like the vibe here is maybe the vibe which would help you creatively.
Which is
out there would give you
when Fly was written in New York. You know, that's the irony of that whole thing.
Yeah.
We had written our first record in LA by ourselves. Kids in a candy store, no one looking over our shoulder, no one checking us, you know, doing whatever we want. Let's just say Lemonade and Brownies I love, because it's probably our most diverse, varied record. We didn't want to repeat that process again. We wanted to go for it, you know, and being in New York, we all would be together. There'd be no distractions because everybody had girlfriends and stuff. And it's just too easy to go home to Newport and not be in the studio for 12 hours.
Right.
We go to New York. We're all there focused. We're in there together, which was hard too, because New York's a party town, apparently. So no one told me that. So, you know, we lost some focus there as well. But the label was also in New York City too. That was attractive to us. We could be near them, use their resources if we need to. And so we had a 24-hour lockout and lived there for a couple of months and started putting the record together.
And who really helped get these songs completed?
David Kahn.
Okay.
David Kahn. We brought these songs 70-80% of the way, and David Kahn just took them the rest of the way. And I remember.
Was it a tough process making that album?
Yes,
it was.
It was very tough because it started being a lot more aggressive than we originally thought because of the world we were coming from. We were touring with Deftones, Monster Magnet. So Fly is the anomaly on that record. It's just this lilty, breezing
Right.
thing. But I think with Lemonade and Brownies, we were kind of hinting where we might or might not go. Now, I felt like we got a little bit of momentum in Europe on this thing. Let's not just completely bail on them. So let's keep on writing some of the hard stuff. But turns out we don't do that well, especially the down tune stuff. That's not our thing. Little fun, little punky nuggets. Hey, I mean, we got a couple of those.
Yeah.
But answer the phone and stuff. But like the down tune, dreary stuff just wasn't our thing. And I was fighting against that uphill battle because that little bit of spark of success was over there. I was almost doubting our songwriting capabilities and being able to write songs that meant something. Our songs back in Lemon and Brownies were cars are cool, beer is rad. Now we're writing a song about missing somebody and love and real. I mean, just you're for the first time in our lives, we're exposing ourselves to the world, how we felt inside. That to me was scary as a songwriter. But luckily, people reacted to it.
Yes, they did.
And so David got involved. He goes, yeah, I like that. Fly is the only song here that's good. I want to work on this song because of one note. And when we were rehearsing in front of him, I went, my mother, God rest her soul. And he goes, do that again. I go, my mother. And he goes, no, the other one. He goes, my mother, God rest her soul. He goes, on that note right there, I think we can sell 2 million records. On that note. And we always went like,
God.
Help us. What? David Kahn, help us. And by the way, David Kahn was very in demand right there because what he did was sublime.
Right.
The Bangles, he did Walk Like an Egyptian. The man knew how to craft a pop song. So what we did is surrendered ourselves to David Kahn. I mean, some people didn't even play in the band. They just, nope, we don't have time. Sorry, we're not going to do this. Nope, you're going to do that. And we let David just take over and do his thing. And thank God we did because what David did is let us know what we can do and what we don't do. And one of the hardest things he ever did to me is, and I've told this story before, so people are probably bored of it, but I'm going to tell it on Tuna on Toast with Stryker.
Tell me.
I was in there about to sing Fly. Okay, now, I know the band knows, everybody knows this is our only shot in hell. This is our last shot. This is it. Now,
Are you really feeling that though, Mark?
Oh, without a doubt.
Because
I left Fly for last, and we all knew it was the one.
Okay.
This is the only one that's got a chance. RPM felt good, it was fine. But
I've told you this when I've had too many drinks in me and not drinks in me. I love RPM.
Thanks,
That
bro.
is my jam right there. I was playing it for Sean right there earlier today. I'm like, Sean, you don't know how much I love this song even more than Fly. This is my jam.
Man, I'm honored, man, and that was a fun one to make. And I thought the car thing was really cool.
Yeah.
And Rodney and our DJ got really good at doing
Was
that.
DJ
live.
Homicide in the
DJ
band?
Homicide, yeah. DJ
Okay.
Homicide, great guy. Very responsible, too, for helping the band get the success where we were able to achieve.
Okay, so here you go. You're in the studio.
In the studio, we've done all their songs, Fly's left, and we all know why it's left. And it's like kind of like when you don't bother a field goal kicker when he's about to kick the last second thing.
Yeah.
So the band wasn't looking at me, Atlantic Records was in the booth and kind of doing this.
Oh,
and I'm sitting there
Jesus
all
Christ.
by myself. I feel like Eric Carmen out there with no pants on. Going, oh my God, this is it. And everybody knew this was it. It was everybody. And David Kahn just goes like in his most sardonic, like dry way. He goes, this is him pushing his glasses up.
Yeah.
He goes, Mark, yeah, David. He goes, I've got some good news and some bad news. Doop. And I go, And being the Irishman that I am, I go, David, give me the bad news first. He goes, boop. You can't sing. Boop. And I'm like, David, call me crazy. What could possibly be the good news right now when I'm about to sing the song that's our only chance on the record? Boop. You have a tone in your voice that if you listen to me, this song will be a gigantic hit. And I went, boop. And I went, so it was the biggest, backhanded compliment. So we had to start building the thing. So we went, all around, stop. So David was on an early Pro Tools thing.
Okay.
All around the world, statues crumble. Stop. Say, crumble, crumble. And it just piece by piece by piece. And he said, here's your voice. And it was Fly. And then that was like, once you get a tempo to something and success, we're like, that feels pretty good. That led to the other song. I'm getting ahead of this now. But so when we finished Fly, I'm like, it's not done. And everybody was so mad at me. And David always had my back. And David goes, what do you mean, Mark? He goes, I think it's done. He goes, there's something missing, man. There's just something missing. There's a like a Jamaican patois missing through here. I kind of hear it.
Can't believe you had the guts to tell this guy that after he just told you, "Did you come before?" and you following every bit. Now you're telling him, "Hold on, we need something else."
And this was a couple days later when the song was done. He Pro Tooled, mixed it, everything, and we all were feeling good about it. And I go, something missing. And I go, David, you probably don't know this guy, but there's a guy named Super Cat. And I think he had a little dance hop and he stopped me. He goes, Super Cat. I signed him to Columbia Record. Oh, Cat, how you been? And doing like a fake patois with Cat. I'm like, what is happening here? And he goes, yeah, I'll send it to you right away. Boom. So overnight, it's Super Cat. Super Cat loves the song. Loves the song. He goes, I've got my whole thing already. And we go, David, can we hear it first before? He goes, not how Super Cat works. He's all in his head. We'll see when he gets here. 2 days later, Super Cat lays down and he went from top to bottom and did not stop. So all nice, sipping the first thing you hear was all the way from the top to the end of the song. So we had to, chop it up so it fit the song. David did, obviously, and made it perfect. So that was the final nail in that coffin that sent that song to #1. And that was
Mark.
was it. That was the dream maker. That was the supernova right there.
Man alive.
Yeah. It just shows you there's so many little pieces involved. If Rodney's guitar part in there wasn't there, he makes a note go out of tune. There's a guitar player in the live that would have kept that we kept it because we loved it. It's like a replacement's a mistake. You know what I mean? Craig's drum loop in there is phenomenal. The bass part that our bass player Murphy came up with, he was just warming up, and our drummer Stan heard it and went, what's that? He goes, I'm just warming up. He goes, no, then that became Fly right there. So all these serendipitous events led to the success of Fly.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Things are happening.
Yes.
The song is huge. People are now doing a deep dive on who the hell is Sugar Ray? They think you're Sugar Ray. They're like,
yep.
What? So did that annoy you at the time? Your name is Sugar Ray?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It's not that I'm a.
But you remember? I remember that happening.
Oh yeah. Well, people just call me Sugar. So I'll be walking down a New York construction site with the buffest guys, their shirt off, go, hey, Sugar. I'm like, what's up, bro? You know what I'm saying? So it was funny in that sense. I kind of backfired on me a little bit, but I think we were quickly able to put out. People still call me Sugar Ray today. That's fine. You know what people were calling us? Before, they weren't calling us to dinner, Stryker. That's what they were doing. So we were just so caught up and happy with the success and all your dreams coming true, being on MTV, in a bus that we deserved for the first time, going on tour 311 and Incubus, playing arenas that I only used to see on ESPN. Now we're playing every arena. I'm like,
yes.
We just were having too much fun, and every day another magical mystery happened. And then finally, at the culmination of that, we go through Atlantic Records, and Ahmet Ertegun gives us a gold record. And we're like, what is happening? What is going on? We don't ever want this to end, How important is your musical knowledge and knowledge of musical history? Did that help you with your band? Or did it maybe 0%? It's probably the best question I've ever been asked. And because it's so important to my songwriting. And I'll tell you why. I'm inspired by things, and they'll go into my songwriting. Suavecito by Amalo, La, 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 you remember that?
Yes.
That was in Every Morning. So what I would do, from loving Suavecito to loving Gilbert Sullivan, at 25 years old, my mother, God rest her soul, 65 years old, my mother, God rest her soul, she couldn't understand why the only man she had ever loved. So I think it's so funny, and you were kind of blowing my own mind right now. My love for music definitely affected my songwriting, inspired it for sure. Because I was inspired by it, literally. Yeah, I tweaked the melodies here and there, and obviously came up a lot of stuff. But that knowledge, knowing that Super Cat existed in the world because I love music, was a huge part of that song's success.
Right.
So I think you're entirely bullseye on that one, dude. Bullseye.
So now 2 years go by and you release your third full-length record.
Yes.
Here we go, 1459. And this is when I think a lot of people are like, not only are these guys good and great songwriters and wonderful live, but they also have a personality because of what you name the album. Our 15 minutes of fame is almost up, so we're going to call it 1459. But holy macaroni, this thing is full of great songs. So did you feel... You don't feel pressure at all, do you? Did you?
There's zero pressure.
Okay, zero pressure. So you work with David Kahn again.
I'm joking.
Oh.
There is so much pressure, and I'll tell you why. When you get a hit song, you get a cup of coffee up there. They say that when you get to the majors, I had a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
It's a cup of coffee. You're up there for a sec, and then we're up for 7 months. We're like, this is so much fun. They're like, you guys are done. And people were so quick to call us one-hit wonders because Fly was the anomaly on that record. I don't blame them. There was nothing similar to it. It was kind of a complaint on people about their record. He goes, about Fly, what's this other crap I'm hearing? Breathe? What is that? You know what I'm saying? So I understand people's frustrations, but when you are sort of in a band where everybody kind of has a little bit of an input, especially three of us really driving the creative process, it's tough to pacify everybody in the band, never mind people buying the records. So Stryker, we were a band that was so quick to be written off. Hey, go have fun on that one-hit wonder cruise ship for the rest of your life. Kajagoogoo's on the third deck. Chumbawamba's downstairs waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yes.
it was just like, they were so quick. And now, once you are a commodity, a business commodity for the label, there's a whole new pressure you didn't know exists called money. Never had any before Fly. Now we got a little for ourselves, and the label wants their cut too. So now you become a commodity, a priority for the label. So, you thought there was pressure before. I talked about, success. That's the second hardest thing.
Right.
Staying there is the hardest thing by far, because now we're like, wow. The pressure was so hardcore, I named the record 14 minutes and 59 seconds. Because it's either the greatest title in the world if the record fails, or it's the greatest title in the world if it succeeds. Either way, you win. And because of that pressure, I named it that. I was feeling so much pressure. But I felt we had some good songs. And I felt more people wanted to hear Fly because there was not another Fly on Floored. We're sitting on every morning, which felt really, really good.
Instantaneous. I knew immediately. I was living in Tucson, working on a radio station called KFMA. Instantly, super smash hit.
I got to tell you, Stryker, I can remember when, remember Hits Magazine?
Yes.
There was a guy there, and this is November, and the record was going to be released in January, which is kind of a strange time for a beachy type song release. But
right,
we're like
January of 1999 when the full length was going to come out.
That's right, and we're like, and the single was going to come out like at the same time, like it was going to come. They were going to leak it a little bit in December so we could do some of those Christmas shows. But I remember in November, Hits Magazine came out and said this, and I'll never forget. I'm going to cry thinking about it, and it changed my life forever. It said, it looks like we've heard our first number one song of 1999, and it's by a band we thought we'd never hear from again, Sugar Ray.
Oh, man.
I'll never forget that, man. And I was like, I remember I was in an apartment in Franklin and Hollywood, and I'm like, I got on the ground and was like, just so happy. I was just screaming and yelling, and I was just like crying, and I was just like, oh my God. And just having that little hope that someone else heard what we did. And this was a taste maker on the hits thing.
Right. And they can be jerks over there.
Oh yeah, and he was an older guy, and he was never a Sugar Ray fan. And he goes, and it was almost bad, admonishing us, saying like, and I thought we'd never hear from these guys again, and it's Sugar Ray. And then that's when every morning started happening. Everybody loved it, and it became bigger than Fly.
Did it start at alternative radio stations first and then cross over, or did stations like Kiss FM start with that one first?
That's what's so interesting about Sugar Ray and our career is that we literally would go through all the genres. We'd start alternative.
Good. That's the smartest thing. You start alternative,
if you are lucky
then
enough
crossover.
to do that, you can't design that because most people, the song's got to be really, really big. And alternative's got to be willing to play with pop radio. And eventually ate ourselves from the insides because all of a sudden we weren't called alternative radio anymore. They're like, well, wait, we want our own special thing. And if you're just going to run this thing to pop, to AAA, to AC, we don't want something we're breaking early on K-Rock, ended up on triple AC. That's not, that's kind of what the...
But No Doubt started on alternative, and then like Don't Speak specifically went here and then there.
There are certain bands.
Yeah.
But, and also like K-Rock, we were the first one to fall out of favor at K-Rock too. K-Rock goes, you guys aren't cool anymore. That was a real gut punch. And I'll tell you why, because I grew up in Newport Beach, and that was very important to me. But the fact that we got to have a ride on K-Rock's train for a long time, a bunch of songs went down there. Falls Apart, Someday, Every Morning, Fly.
Yes.
They played RPM. So just that we had a nice little run at K-Rock, and every now and then you hear the top 500, and you hear
and you're in there,
and that means the world to me. It truly does because I grew up with that stuff, But they were the first to go, that's cool. Still got some alternative stations. We all pop over here, so we wrote out the pop thing, and we went out to Popville, if you will, which is fine. Was
that the plan though, Mark? This is a serious question here. Bands want to be as successful and huge as possible. Mm-hmm. You're not in this to make no money. It's a job. You want to get out of an apartment at Hollywood and Franklin. Was the plan always to get on the other stations, or it's just the natural progression when a song is this big? you just can't resist playing it everywhere.
Yeah, you could never plan for that, especially a band like us who was playing Zodiac Mind Warp cover songs in '88, thinking you were going to get a #1 song on pop radio. It was just like the trajectory is impossible. It was impossible. It'd be like saying at the time, hey, Mark, you're going to be point guard for the Lakers in 10 years. It was like, it's the same fantasy then. So no, you could never plan that in a million years. I think with us, and like I said, with our influences, we were kind of going where the wave was a little bit. Like the early wave was that, that out in Europe, like that. We wanted to stay alive, wanted to keep being in a band. People think, oh, they changed their sound. Florida's arguably our hardest record. It's heavy, but Lemonade and Brownies has straight R&B songs on it.
Yeah.
I'm singing in falsetto. So if you weren't being sort of told where we were going to go in the future, then that's on you. Then you didn't really get what the essence of the band was.
And that's my fault too. Like, what an idiot I was. Young, naive, working in Tucson, not understanding how hard it is to have a song that the radio plays and that people care about. And whether it's Sugar Ray or other bands, your third and fourth record should not sound like your first and second, no matter who you are. Because you're getting older, you're more mature, different songwriting, different the band wants this and that.
Well, that's the idea. If you're lucky enough to have a band that's making a third or fourth record,
right.
You've been in the game a while.
That's right.
So you certainly need to sort of change. The radio's changing, so you certainly need to change a little bit. Now, AC/DC's made the same record for 25 years, and I 45 years, and I don't want them to make a different record. It works for some bands. But for a band like us, we never got onto that legacy fan base. We have a lot of people that love the music, but we just never had we had great fans that were younger and really enjoyed the music, but I could see they were going to cycle out. We didn't have bands that were going to be like, oh, the 97 tour, that was so great. I could just feel that. We had a lot of people that loved the hysteria of it all, but we were failing to connect to them. We're like, oh, track 7 on this is so important. They weren't, which is fine. It just didn't happen that way. They weren't breaking down the music the way I had hoped they would, being in a band. But maybe the music didn't deserve that. I think we got more than we deserved in this business, and certainly do I. The fact that I still get to play music for a living, I've taken way more than I deserve. We sold 10 million records, Wow.
Good for you, Mark. Congratulations to you and all the guys. Damn.
No, but I feel
Wait, hold on. I talked over you.
Yeah.
You sold 10 million records, and what was the next thing you said?
With 2 #1s. 4 top 10s and 6 top 40s, which is, it's good stuff. It's good. It's magical stuff, and it's dreamland, and I'm still living it. And people kind of sometimes go like, are you still doing that band thing, Mark? And I always go like, do you look at a dentist and go like, are you still doing that dentist thing, man? Like, this is what I do. And I told you earlier, this is what I'm going to do to the end. And if you're lucky enough to do something you love, there is no plan B. That cliche is cliche because it's real.
Your bubble is 10,000 times bigger than mine, but I was talking to my wife recently. I'm like, I don't know any other job that I could have. Like, I got the podcast. I've been on the radio for 25 years, 23, 4 years in Los Angeles. Like, if I wanted it, what else? I got to keep doing this. Like,
but you're so good at it.
Oh,
dude.
thanks, Mark.
No, it's what you do, dude.
Man.
And your star is starting to shine, which it's like you're getting this second sort of upheaval of the Stryker business.
Thank you,
because
Mark.
This is such a beautiful play for you. You talk about Howard Stern being a great interviewer, and he is, but you're so conversational. You feel like you're talking to a homie. And when you're watching and listening, you feel the same way. So
Thank you.
It's a magical thing you do. You're supposed to be doing this. That's why you're going to do it for the rest of your life.
Thank you, man. So you go 95, 97, 99 on the
90s.
I know. So 1459 has 3 legitimate super hits. And then
triple platinum, man.
Yeah.
Did more than Flora did, but nobody expected that.
Right.
We didn't expect that.
So now what's the mindset when you go make the self-titled?
Well, now you're talking to the president of the label. And it was kind of depressing time because this is like 2001, not yet. And Sean Fanning hadn't won. Wait a minute yet. They were, but it was
Napster you're referring to here?
Yeah. It was on the horizon. But after 1459, we felt, okay, we're doing, this is what we do now. We're doing this. We made it. In the 70s and 80s, if you'd sold 5 million records, you're going to do that for the rest of your life. In the 80s and 90s, that changed a lot. You might not have a shelf life of forever anymore. That was interesting. I remember still being desperate after 1459 because I'm so hungry and I'm so fearful and so self-effacing that it all could go away. So I was trying to do whatever it took to stay in the mix, and we decided to make the record a little heavier. We went down every morning, Trentville. We went down the Someday thing. I think we had a song on the Scooby-Doo soundtrack, and we were in Scooby-Doo called "Words to Me" that had very much a simpatico to those songs. So I thought at that time we did it. We're going to need to try something else to stay alive. Now I don't regret trying something else because it was time to do that. So our self-titled record in 2001 became a little bit harder. We went with Don Gilmore as a producer,
Right.
who did Linkin Park. Lit. He just finished Linkin Park. He goes, I got this little band called Linkin Park. He goes, I don't know about the rapper, but I think they're going to do all right.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Wow, Don.
So I was thinking, and he was the label. He was a Warner. And then, out of here. Such a great band. So we go, let's get a little more rockier. Let's go. We had a little rock roots, Sometimes people forget that we went back to our rock roots with the self-titled record. Now, we had When It's Over in our back pocket. We go, this thing feels pretty familiar, feels like a hit, feels good. And so we went down that process with Don Gilmore, had some great songs, Answer the Phone, song called Waiting. I think that could have been a hit. And we just made this cool rock record. I really liked it. It was it was a good record to make at the time. It's probably the band's favorite record. It just feels very cohesive from top to bottom. I can listen to every song on that record, and I can't do that in any other record in the Sugar Ray catalog. But we'd finished, and we just looked at When It's Over and went, I don't know if it's there. I did, of course, because I just overthink everything, and I panic about everything. And I go, I just don't know if it's there. And I go, I love Don's version. It's just something missing. And it was bothering me again. And I go, I cannot. This is my career. So I just put my tail between my legs and went beep, bop, boop, boop, boop. Hi, David Kahn. He's still there?
No.
Now Don's version was great. It was great. And I took it to David and I go, David, this is great, isn't it? He goes, yeah, it's great. I go, it's a hit, right? He goes, yeah, it's a hit. He goes, but it's not a classic. And I went, take off my shirt, open my heart. What are you gonna do? And we didn't fire him. We just didn't go back to him again for the self-titled. So there's a little bit of like hemming and hawing, a little bit of,
wow,
a little bit of, hey, would you mind just taking a look at it, dude? We've been through so much together, and I just think you're the guy. And so he went,
put the glasses up.
I got an hour after this Paul McCartney session. I'll take a look at it. And thank God he did, because he just added a little bit of magic in. Just a little bit. It was a hit. With Don Gilmore's version was a hit. I'm telling you. But David made it just so it was going to hang around. It's a classic, Wow. And so When It's Over became the single off the self-titled. But the landscape was changing. I remember I used to follow Everclear and Smash Mouth and watch their chart numbers, their record sales and all that, because I felt we were a lot of simpatico between our bands, and they were falling off a little bit, and they weren't getting the spins. And R&R, as you know, was this
Radio and Records.
Radio and Records was a Bible for all of us to read. It said how many spins to the number you had at every station across the country. And we were, we were starting to fall out a little bit. The Strokes and Interpol were starting to come around, and there was this new little skinny tie vibe happening. I'm like, oh man. When It's Over came out, it got added to every pop station. Not a lot of alternative stations, so I could see right away what we're dealing with. And it did its thing. The record went platinum again, which is great. Got toured with Uncle Cracker. That was a lot of fun. And we were just a working band doing our thing. And I go, you know what? If we're just going to make platinum records the rest of our life, no problem. And so that was the self-titled.
But that's cool that the pop stations added that song and you went platinum right away. So that had to feel good. But then you guys took somewhere between 4 and 5 years off before, I don't know if you took it off necessarily, but before you put out another record. Well, were you guys exhausted or what was going on?
Not necessarily. So with 2001, the self-titled came out.
Yep.
We were limping into the next record. Now Fanning's Napster's out and the labels are panicking, and it's 2003.
Oh, in the Pursuit of Leisure, right? Yes. Yep.
Now we have the president of Atlantic going, "Is your record done?" Like I'm in the studio going, I talk about pressure. He goes like, I got a fourth quarter. If this doesn't, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to. These aren't, you just can't just put it. You can't bake these hits. You know what I mean? They take some time. They have to marinate. So there was a lot of pressure then. There was just an overall feeling of the sky is falling in the record industry in 2003. For the artists, for the labels, for the manufacturers, for all of us, for the radio stations. Alternative was starting to go away.
Right.
They're going one by one. So it was falling like dominoes every day, like gigantic like corporations were falling. So it was where we're kind of in the middle of that. And In the Pursuit of Leisure is a band at the end of their rope with no creative juices left, nothing left.
Man.
Went back to David Kahn. He goes, I don't want to do Sugar Ray. I want to do something else. So he was doing all these, like, we didn't really even set up the instruments. The last hit we had was we did a cover of Joe Jackson's Ishula Going Out with him. And that limped to top 40. It was over, it's over, it's over, and it was over. We had a big tour that year with Matchbox 20 and some band called Maroon. They opened for us.
Yes.
I remember going, this band's going to be really big. They were opening for us. That was a lot of fun. So I was still having all this fun. All my dreams are coming true. I'm playing Staples Center. I'm playing Madison Square Garden. But in the back of my head, I knew it was over. I knew it was over.
Really, Mark?
Yep. So we came back in 2004, and some of the guys had little babies in the band. And they wanted to watch them grow, which I, of course, could not begrudge. And I made a couple calls of things that were kind of on the outside waiting for me. You know, if Mark's ever ready, you know, I'm here. And one of those calls was the Extra. I went in there on a Friday. And 2 weeks later, I was hosting Extra.
And you did a great
I don't know about that.
job.
I always tell a funny story, Stryker. You know, I started there and I was, you know, I'm a big showbiz guy. You know, I'm trying to hit the back of the last row in the stage in the arena. I want to have everybody involved. I'm a big movement guy, and TV is like this.
Pretty still, right?
TV is an eyebrow. I mean, Clint Eastwood made a career out of this. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I'm going, hey, I'm just like, dude, calm down. So I remember I was like a deer in the headlights my first couple shows, 6 months into it, you know, and they were so kind to me at Extra. I've never worked harder. I've never seen a group of people smarter and work harder. Yeah, at the end of the day, what they were putting out was, you know, it is what it was, but the people there are some of the smartest people I've ever had the pleasure to work with and still to know to this day. But I remember 6 months into my tenure at Extra, I was getting a coffee at 6 a.m. at a 7-Eleven, not for the reasons why I used to be able to get coffee at 6 a.m. but I was working Extra. And this guy walks in, he's kind of like, you know, had like a neck tattoo and he's kind of like dirty. And he's coming at me. I'm like, oh God. He goes, hey, Mark. I go, hey, yeah, hey, what's up, bro? He goes, dude, you sucked when you started, but keep it up. You're getting better. So I think what's the hardest thing to do, and I've done it before, is learn, and I guess this is my second time, learn how to do your career in front of people.
I'm going to throw bands at you.
Yeah.
Give me a line on the band, because you know more about music than just about everybody I know. Give me a line about the band and how much you like them, love them. Guns N' Roses.
Love Guns N' Roses. The best debut record of all time.
Okay.
When your debut record is a greatest hits record, you won.
The Cure.
I love The Cure with everything in my heart and soul. Okay. The Cure was one of those K-Rock phenomenon bands I'm talking about. We were out here in Southern California. The Cure was the Rolling Stones to us before it was to everybody else. They speak to me in such, like, when I want to cry and get dark and go inner emo, they were our first emo band.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We were emo before you guys were emo. That's what I'm trying to say.
Jane's Addiction.
I love Jane's Addiction. Jane's Addiction doesn't get enough credit for what they did. They ushered in the era, along with the steady help of REM, the alternative music genre. And fight me on that. Tell me differently.
Should they be in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I think they should absolutely be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because people in the Hall of Fame will tell you they should be in the Hall of Fame. You know, I think Dave Grohl would tell you that. I think people that know would tell you that, you know. And also Dave Navarro, he's done a lot of things outside of music, is one of the greatest guitar players of our generation.
Wow.
For sure, by far. Songwriting, Perry is a frontman, untouchable. Stephen Perkins, his drum style, the tom style, it's hard for people to replace that. You know, I'm in a band with Dave Navarro. We play a lot of cover songs, and people want to play Jane's all the time. And people really struggle on Stephen's drum pattern. So really incredible. And Chris Chaney's in the band too. So they just belong in the Hall of Fame for sure.
Where are you with Weezer?
I love Weezer.
Oh, really?
We wrote a song called Rivers for the Scream 2 soundtrack. That's how much I love Weezer. I love that first record, man. It got me through when we would tour in Europe, and we'd have no cell phones, no credit cards. All we had was that Weezer CD, and we up and down. And I remember listening to that with Chino from the Deftones,
yes,
and just hugging each other and crying, and my name's John, like drunk and
yes,
in the middle of Germany. I love that band with everything. I've said it to every band. Because you look at the home run bands you're throwing at me. If you don't like these bands, you don't like music.
I just love hearing you describe them and talk about them using your words. Blink-182?
I love Blink-182. You kidding me? Another band that, like, in retrospect, you look back with rose-colored eyes. Because if you were telling me, I used to see them at a place called Diego's in Winters down in San Diego. It was all dick jokes and fart jokes. And like, there were songs somewhere deep in there, but no better than like songs that were written by the Adolescents or something. You know what I mean? So if you're going to tell me they were going to be like one of the biggest rock bands in the world, I would have said, well, I want to stick around for that. I want to see it. And I think they did an incredible turn with the record that had Robert Smith on it. And,
right.
Miss You. I mean, they really became, the dick jokes went away and they became Blink-182. Those will always be part of Blink-182, but they became a real songwriting entity after that song. What was the name of that record? It's got the double X and it's got Miss You on it. And
was that the self-titled?
I'm feeling this. Yeah, I think it is self-titled.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it. They went,
or Neighborhoods? No.
I think it is self-titled.
Oh, self-titled. Okay,
yeah,
the self-titled
because
one.
Robert Smith from Cure is on it, and it's such a beautifully, masterfully written record. So yeah, no, I love Blink-182.
Last one, and this is a band who I finally saw for the first time 4 years ago, saw them for the second time about 4 months ago. Rolling Stones.
Love the Rolling Stones. And there's an emotional connection there because we got to open for the Rolling Stones in 1999.
Holy mackerel.
We got to open, and I'll never forget this because we were in Vegas opening for them. It was 1999 and sold out. And we're about to play Every Morning. It's the last song of the set. And I go, I just want to thank the Rolling Stones and their crew for having us here. I don't think it can get any better than what's happening right now. Really. I mean, I want to be in the moment. Every Morning's #1 in the country right now. So thank you all. Wait a minute. It just got a little bit better. Mick and Keith are watching right there from the Yes. And that was so insane. And they were so kind to have us out for a couple of days. Then I saw them recently at SoFi.
Yep, that's the show.
Get there 4 hours early if you plan on parking at SoFi.
Right.
They were incredible. And I'm sitting there, I was with my wife. I go, why am I liking this so much? They just sound so great. Well, I love Charlie Watts as a drummer. Charlie played a little bit behind with the Stones. Steve Jordan pushed it a little bit. So all the songs were doing a little, I go, why am I? Oh, it's Steve Jordan.
Huh.
And I ran into one of their backup singers just recently at the airport. And I go, he goes, we were all saying that. He goes, I was rehearsing with Steve Jordan and I brought Keith down and he goes, he's adding a little pizzazz to it, right? And Charlie, the greatest of all time. But Steve added, you were at that show.
Yes.
I was just like, why am I having so much fun? He was just pushing it a little bit. So yeah, Stones, they're untouchable. I mean, the Beatles versus Stones, okay? So let's talk about the two best bands that ever lived. And I don't think there are ever going to be more bands that are going to be challenging that throne. So it's the Stones and the Beatles. Who do you have for #1? Or you could throw someone else in there if you want to.
I'll throw Led Zeppelin in the mix. Mm-hmm. I'll throw the Beach Boys in the mix.
I'll definitely raise your Beach Boys for sure.
Mark, for 90% of my life, I'd say the Beatles. But because the Rolling Stones still play, and I've seen their electricity, even in this day and age, whatever age they're at, they're the best. Yeah. Rolling Stones are the best.
I can't disagree, especially when we're talking about rock bands, rock and roll.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The Beatles went out there in the psychedelia and all their stuff. Stones stayed true to it. So,
who's the best band in the last 20 years?
Last 20 years? Well, that's a tough one, man. Last 20 years, who's the best band? Boy, that's a tough one.
You can pass.
No, I just don't.
From how about from 1999 until now? Who would it be?
The best band it's ever.
There you go.
No, it's hard to say the best. History, I don't know. I'm kind of going against my own thing right now. I don't know. It's too hard to say.
Okay. All right, let's wrap it right there. We're like an hour and 5 minutes into this thing.
Hey, look at that.
Mark, thank you so much for coming over. I know we started early today. And I don't know what time you go to bed, but I go to bed early. So this is when I have my energy. But Mark, congratulations on your career, the way you've conducted yourself. And you obviously have many, many, many more years to play live. And I have not been to a Sugar Ray show in a long time. So if there's one soon,
Beach Life.
I would like to be there.
Change
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Beach Life. That's
Yes.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Yes.
You know,
And you're in a
Vance
Smashing
Joy.
Pumpkins video.
There you go.
Yes.
That was a weird thing too. I was in there. I was like the big top announcer.
I
and all
know.
that.
It was good.
And Billy Corgan would never tell me why, but I know there was a why there. You know, maybe the why is the why.
Was he nice to you?
Oh, he's the greatest. I love Billy.
I
He was
love Billy,
great.
too.
Sweet guy. Very misunderstood.
Smashing Pumpkins are underrated, in my opinion.
That's a very good band to say underrated for sure. And I love the way Billy now has just embraced. You know, we're talking about the people like change. Billy's just embraced being who he is now. He's very comfortable in his skin.
Totally
It's very,
comfortable.
Very wonderful to see because he wasn't always that way 20, 25 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's just up for anything. He laughs, he smiles, he's great. I love
Puts
Billy
Pumpkins in the Hall of Fame as well, for God's sakes.
Absolutely.
It's
man.
nuts. All right.
Hey, Stryker, thank you too. If you're going to throw it my way, I'm going to throw it your way. Always been there, early champion of the band. Every time I see you, smiles, hugs, happiness. You know, you've never big time me. Always been super cool. And it's an honor. Thank you for letting me force myself onto
Thank
Tuna on
you.
Toast.
Thank you, Mark.
You got it, bud.
All right, that's the show, everybody. Holy mackerel. From Mark McGrath, I am Ted Stryker. Thanks for listening and watching. Happy snuggles. Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed. Now hit that subscribe button. And for more Tuna on Toast, listen wherever you get your podcasts.